all right, these double text questions are not that bad. Let's just make sure we follow the instructions. Based on the text, how would Hull's team in text 2 most likely respond to the argument of the underlined portion of text 1? Okay, so I'm going to go to text 1 first. I want to know what they're saying so that then when I go to text 2, I can kind of think about the response, right? So I know it seems like it's not, it's a little backwards, right? They're asking about text 2, but we have to read text 1 first. So let's take a look at this. We're going to read the whole passage. The Cretaceous Paleogene mass extinction event is usually attributed solely to an asteroid impact near Chicxulub, Mexico. Some scientists argue that volcanic activity was the true cause, so volcanic, as the KPG event occurred relatively early in a long period of eruption of the Deccan Traps Range and initially produced huge amounts of climate-altering gases. Notice how that's all like science, but really just saying it's volcanoes. That's the whole thing. These dissenters note that other mass extinctions have coincided with large volcanic eruptions, while only the KPG event lines up with an asteroid strike. Okay, so they're saying that it's a volcano. Let's look at 2. In a 2020 study, Pincelli Hull and her colleagues analyzed ocean core samples and modeled climate changes around the KPG event. The team concluded that Deccan Traps, those are the volcanoes, gases did affect global conditions prior to the event, but that the climate returned to normal well before the extinctions began, extinctions that instead closely align with the whatever that's called, impact, right? I wish I knew how to pronounce that. It comes up in a lot of passages. So they disagree, right? That's my dumb summary here, is they disagree, right? One says volcano, one says meteor, asteroid. Okay, so let's be clear, though. The order matters for the question here. Based on the text, how would they respond to that argument? Okay, so they would say, I disagree with it. So A, by agreeing that the Chicxulub impact changed the climate and that the Deccan Traps eruption caused it. No. They're saying that the volcanoes didn't cause the KPG event, so choice A is wrong. That might be a little bit of a trap because it's kind of flipping the question, right? That might be what what passage 1 would say about passage 2, but that's not the question, right? It's what 2 would say to 1. Let's continue. By declaring that the changes in climate caused by the Deccan Traps eruption weren't the main cause of the KPG event. Yeah, that sounds right. So that's saying the volcanoes weren't the cause. It doesn't talk about the asteroid at all, but okay, maybe that's enough. Let's see if what C says. By questioning why those scientists assume that the impact caused the Deccan Traps eruption. No. So that's completely like mixing these two ideas in a very bad way, right? These are two separate paths that we can take to cause the extinction event, right? Either the volcanoes or the meteor. This is saying that the meteor caused the volcanoes, which caused the thing. No. This is blending them together. Two separate ideas. D, by asserting that the Deccan Traps eruption had a more significant effect on global conditions than those scientists claim. This is a great example of, something that I noticed because I've taken so many SATs. This is a trap answer because it's creating a comparison. It's saying one is better than the other. But again, this is not a passage about ranking two things and saying that they both mattered, but one mattered more. This is about saying two different paths, path A, path B, volcanoes, meteor, right? That's really it. It's one or the other. So this is, again, it's kind of blending them together, whereas B is much better because it's saying, no, this was not the cause. This other thing was, right? It's kind of skipping the meteor part, but it's still getting that other, like, no, the volcanoes were not the cause. So that's definitely the answer. And notice, again, like the trap answers, the things we might get wrong here are kind of coming from a misreading of the question, less so than a misreading of the passage. I think choice A is probably the most likely trap here, but just make sure that you're kind of understanding the logic of the double passage. Who is responding to whom? That is what really matters. There will almost always be an answer choice that kind of flips the question as if you kind of didn't read it. So make sure you don't fall for that trap because it's kind of a waste. It means you understood the passage. You just, didn't think through the question well enough.